So many of them. It's just this amorphous group of people. But they're smart and they're vicious. And we have to defeat them. And when I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting.
He told us who he was and what he was going to do the very first time he took office. Now, 10 years later, people are acting shocked and surprised that Donald Trump is inflicting the very carnage that he promised he would is sort of astonishing and mind-blowing to me. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. I have a special guest with me in the studio tonight, a rare appearance by my dog, my yellow Labrador Donk. He may pop his head up right now. He's exploring camera equipment over there. So anyway, he's rarely in here, but he is tonight. I guess he felt that this story was important enough that he had to make his presence known. Anyway, moving on. The military occupations that Donald Trump has ordered in LA, now Washington, D.C., and it looks like he's aiming for Chicago next, have nothing to do with crime. That's the ruse. So do not get baited into the crackdown on crime, as you'll see in mainstream press headlines. Like, that is a red herring. This has nothing to do with that. So don't get sucked into that. This is all about warming up the bed for all of us to get used to authoritarian rule.
You are familiar with it, the frog in boiling water metaphor that seeks to illustrate the difference between sudden and gradual peril. In one particular context, it prompts an important question. When will we know? When will we really know that we are officially under authoritarian rule here? Remember that when you consider all of the breaking stories and headlines we woke up to this morning. As we speak, there are more than 2,000 armed soldiers, military, patrolling the streets of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The federal task force managing the D.C. takeover says that the majority of those troops are carrying their service-issued M17 pistols, while a number are packing M4 rifles. Members of the United States military are among the finest and bravest and most noble men and women our country has to offer, period, full stop. The fault in everything we discussed today does not lie with them, but with the person giving them their orders, the country's elected commander-in-chief. And suggested he'll send troops to Chicago and maybe also Baltimore, potentially putting nearly 4 million Americans under this dark new rule of law, law and order regime in America. Then he said this.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic.
Is the water hot enough for you yet?
I firmly believe, having been a part of it for many years, that the legacy corporate media is every bit as responsible for enabling this fascist nightmare that we are living in right now as the corrupt politicians and ignorant voters who signed up for it are. For years, the mainstream media has primed millions of us to accept Donald Trump's insane, unhinged, madman behavior as normal. Like, oh, just another normal day. Like, they don't even push back on the 8 billion lies that he spews a day. And it's really distressing. I'm going to do another whole take on that. But thankfully, a handful of pro-democracy governors are now calling the press out.
What we have to be clear about is don't take the bait. It boggles my damn mind that in the midst of a military takeover of our cities and the attempt to go into others, the flaunting of the rule of law, the cruelness and the unconstitutional nature of the way they're attacking our neighbors, that the press finds the need to talk about, oh, there's a division in the Democratic Party. There's a division in my damn house and we're still married and things are good.
To the members of the press who are assembled here today and listening across the country, I am asking for your courage to tell it like it is. This is not a time to pretend here that there are two sides to this story. This is not a time to fall back into the reflexive crouch that I so often see, where the authoritarian creep by this administration is ignored in favor of some horse race piece on who will be helped politically by the president's actions. Donald Trump wants to use the military to occupy a U.S. city, punish his dissidents, and score political points. If this were happening in any other country, we would have no trouble calling it what it is, a dangerous power grab.
More of that, please. We need more. And I have to say, there have been several governors, and we just need everybody to get up there and do that now. I know Angus is crying. Sorry. The Trump regime is ramping up the intimidation tactics, turning up the heat, and weaponizing the federal government to exact revenge on Trump's perceived political enemies. Heavy emphasis on the word perceived, because Donald Trump just imagines or lies and makes up these wild scenarios and then weaponizes the federal government to go after people like a John Bolton or a Miles Taylor, or, criminally investigating Letitia James or even Barack Obama. Like, this is batshit crazy, but you don't see that reported in the regular press. And, when even in the progressive spaces, I've seen a lot of influencers or even, reporters say, well, could it be that that authoritarianism is on its way to America? Could it happen here? A lot of these sort of rhetorical questions. The authoritarian rule is already here. They are putting out the playbook of Project 2025 as I speak. It's already happened. I think that we are just so blind and inured by our own exceptionalism in America that we refuse to believe that it's actually happening. But it is here. A dictatorship is forming, is in place right now, and getting stronger every day.
To defense lawyers and even some prosecutors, many of the cases that have landed in court have raised concerns that the takeover seems intended to artificially inflate its effect, because government lawyers have been instructed to file the most serious federal charges, no matter how minor the incident. Which brings us back to where we started. When will we know? When will all of us know we've crossed into something new, into authoritarianism? Bill Maher, of all people, this weekend had a theory about what comes next.
Let me just describe some of the steps, and you tell me if I'm being paranoid. First, create a masked police force. Get people used to looking at that. Normalize snatching people off the street. Get them used to that. Normalize seeing the National Guard and the military on the street. Then start talking about crime in the capital, which is basically, has always been a fairly crime-ridden city. This is our nation's capital where elections are decided. And then because the crime is so bad, have other states start sending their troops, not just the National Guard there in D.C., but now at least 6 other states are sending their troops, which then Trump can then federalize. So you're having many states' troops on the ground there, and now they're under federal control. So you have in the Capitol a sort of permanent police presence. So when an election dispute might come up, just hypothetically, I don't want to be a big pessimist, and I'm going to pretend for the rest of the duration that the Democrats do have a chance of winning, and they might win the next election. I just don't think they're ever going to take power, because this is what's going to happen. Because I think this coup is going to go off a lot smoother than the last one.
Now, Bill Maher does not have much credibility with me at all, and he really lost whatever shred he had when he decided to cozy up for dinner at the White House with Donald Trump to talk about what a nice guy he is. But on this, I do agree. The Trump regime is sending in military troops to American cities, specifically liberal cities, so that when the elections come around, the midterms in 2026, and even ahead to 2028, they can have this intimidating presence so that people will be nervous to go out and vote. Because remember, he's trying to do away with mail-in voting and afraid to vote and to go through all the trouble of that. Add to that his Gestapo, these masked secret police, the brown shirts, the SS, whatever you want to call them. They're very reminiscent of Hitler's SS. This is what blows me away. It's like I mean, I see a ton of this, documented and put out on social media, and thank God for citizen journalists and others. But like, this is not normal. This is fascist dictator stuff. And that is the plan. We have a hostile government takeover of the United States. And that fact seems to be lost on someone like Mr. Both Sides. I'm a proud conservative, MSNBC host Joe Scarborough, who also, by the way, kissed Trump's golden ring.
So shocked and stunned and deeply saddened by what happened over the last 4 years. They're doing it this 4 years. What do they think is going to happen when Democrats get back into power? Like, dude, do we really want this cycle to continue?
Well, do they think Democrats will get back into power? I mean, that's the question, right? That's what Bill Maher was talking about.
Democrats will. Let me just assure everybody right now, they will get back into power. Our independents will get back into power. And people that are doing this right now will leave office with a cloud over their head. I
heard him say that the other day, and I'm like, what are you... Joe, are you so sure? You don't think that thousands and thousands of ICE thugs, military force, isn't a ramp up for suppressing votes? Or let's say optimistically that the Democrats do win back Congress in the midterms, which I hope they do. But who says that they are actually going to be allowed to take power? That the certification of a Democratic Congress is going to go through? This is what I'm saying. Like, this is not accidental what Trump and his regime are doing. The Stephen Millers, all these little freaking psychopaths he's got there. This is what they're planning. Their policies, or whatever you want to call them, are horribly unpopular. People do not like what they are doing. So they know if it comes right down to people voting, they're going to lose, which is why they are aggressively trying to cheat, gerrymander, rig elections, garner secretaries of state, everything and anything they can do. And this is what they have been doing for years, by the way. That's why Donald Trump is so pissed off still about the 2020 election, because they were cheating then. So, this is the way it's going. So I think we are really naive to think, like Joe Scarborough, the Democrats will be back in power. Like, that is naive. And I think that gets his audience to believe that everything is A-okay and elections are just going to move along normally. No. These Republican fascist criminals are not planning on giving up power.
All these kinds of behaviors have been building for some time, even before the election, and now they're simply coming to fruition. There isn't going to be a moment. It's not like there's going to be a red flashing light that goes off. I mean, maybe something will happen at the midterms or maybe not. But the increasing use of authoritarian tactics and the corresponding answer of authoritarian behaviors is here. And it's really important that Americans recognize it and name it and understand it.
Like I said, people just don't seem to believe that it could happen here or that it is happening here. And I mean, I see it in people in my own life. People just going on with their lives until one day the goons are at their door. This is completely abnormal shit, people. And, I realize I'm like sort of out in the front lines and putting my stuff out there, but I am shocked at the number of friends and people I have in my life who just seem to be acting like everything's normal. I have one friend, she's like, oh, that's just Trump being ridiculous. What are you saying? Yes, he's a buffoon. Yes, he's a stupid ass, ridiculous clown, but he's very dangerous, more so than ever because he's clearly got serious health issues. His dementia is increasing by the day, but he's inherently an evil, evil man. And to be naive and think, oh, this is just ridiculous, it's all going to work itself out. It's like, I just want to just smack some of my friends. And I don't think that it's just a small handful. I think that there are millions of Americans who are just like, no, I can't deal with this. I got to get the kids to school. I got to get them back in school. We got to go, shopping, and groceries are expensive. Not recognizing that by staying out of the fight, that they are complicit. And that's the bottom line. Like, here's the way I'm going to leave this take. Like, we have to call this what it is. I have gotten more bold. I admit I wasn't with my immediate relationships, but I am now. Speak this way to your friends and family, using the correct verbiage, using dictatorship, calling it what it is, authoritarian rule, fascism. Stop tiptoeing around it like the freaking corporate press does. At this point, if you are not writing like Paul fucking Revere, then you are not doing enough. That is the danger point that we are in right now in the United States. And I am not trying to be an alarmist. I am being real. I am waving my flag and saying like, not the British are coming, but the fascists are here. The fascists are here. Pay attention. The fascists are here. Okay. I'll leave it there. And looks like Donk has settled down on the floor. So I wish you guys, as always, lots of love, peace. But man, be fierce. Right, Donk?
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.